everyone, I'm Toga, and today I have for you a 30-minute Yoga for Climbers focus flow for your core. You don't have to be a climber or an athlete to take this class, although some of these moves are a little bit more intermediate, so it's good if you have some foundational knowledge before we get into this class. But I will also be offering different variations of each of these poses in this flow so that this can be accessible if you are newer or more of a beginner. I also recommend stacking this class with some of my other shorter classes, especially the yin ones. So doing a yin class or a slow flow class before this one can really help warm your body up and get you prepared for everything that we're doing in this core focus class. So if you want to pause this video and go do one of those and then come back, I'll be here. Otherwise, if you're ready, we can go ahead and get started. We'll get started in a supine position. So you can gently roll yourself down to your mat. Extend your legs. Extend your arms. Let your palms open up to the ceiling. Maybe you close your eyes if that feels okay. Otherwise, you can just softly gaze down the tip of your nose. And drop into your breathing here. Become aware of your inhales and your exhales. You don't have to change anything. Just see where you're at today. Acknowledging the quality and depth of your breath. If you'd like to set an intention for this practice, I invite you to do that now. If nothing is coming to you, I can offer you the intention of inner strength. If that resonates with you, you can sit with that. Or you could pick something else entirely, but wherever you are, begin to connect a little bit deeper with your breathing, lengthening out your inhales and elongating those exhales. Reminding yourself to tap in to that effortless effort today. Looking to push ourselves, but not past what our bodies are asking for today. Accessing some effortless effort. Remembering to always stay within our breath. And when you're ready, you can bring your feet in so that your knees are pointed up towards the ceiling. And then you can gently lift those feet off the mat and bring your knees to your chest. You don't have to yank them all the way close. About halfway is good for now. And then just gently rock along your belt line. Waking our body up here. Maybe you do some knee circles. First one direction, and then the other. And then if it feels okay and you want to draw those knees even closer to the chest, rocking a little back and forth, I invite you to do that here. And then we'll set up for the start of our practice. So lifting your legs up into a tabletop position here, still on your back. If you want, you can walk your shoulder blades underneath your back a little to give yourself some more support. Hands can come out to a T shape. If you don't have a ton of room, you can make cactus arms, or you can keep your hands next to your body, your palms pressing into your mat. And we'll start with some gentle toe taps. So inhale here. And on your exhale, you're going to release that right toe down to the mat. Simply tap it there. Don't linger for long. Inhale it back up to that tabletop position to meet the other leg. And again, On your exhale, you can drop that toe down. Tap it, inhale, lift it back up. So go ahead and keep doing that while I sort of explain what's going on here. So we want to keep this lower abdomen area activated. So if you can imagine something small and round like a marble sitting on your lower abdomen area, and we really want to keep that marble steady. So we don't want it rolling around, we don't want it moving, we don't want it falling to the ground. So the only thing that's moving right now is that leg, those toes coming down and tapping and then coming back up. And one way to think of this too is in between our cat-cow spine. So our back is not arched and it's also not driving down into the earth. It's somewhere in between that so that we are having some connection with our lower spine onto the mat here, but we are not overextending anything. But we are keeping that core steady, we're keeping it engaged, we're pulling our belly button in slightly. Do 2 more. Beautiful. And then when you get to the top, you can go ahead and inhale, exhale, and then inhale, extend that right leg up towards the ceiling. We're going to come into single leg drops here. If this left leg is starting to get a little sore, a little achy, you can always let it fall loose so that you're not holding it up in that tabletop position, but it's coming down more. And you can also put your foot back onto the mat here too. So take whatever version of this is working for you. And wherever you are, on your inhale, having that right leg straightened, and then exhale, slowly lowering it down, only as far as you can go while you still have that integrity of your spine. Exhale, lifting it back up. Coming into these single leg drops, going at your own speed, linking up your inhales and your exhales with your movements here, really focusing on using that core to lift instead of your leg or instead of any other momentum. And if you need to put a bit of a bend in that right leg to make this a little bit easier, more accessible, feel free to do that too. Again, your right leg here is the only thing that's moving. The rest of your body is in stillness. You're feeling this in that core region, really engaging that area of your body. And one more to the top. And then release your legs and let them both come back down to the mat. Walk your feet to mat distance and let your knees knock together in constructive rest. If it feels good, you can do a couple of windshield wipers here, just rinsing out those hips, releasing the work we just did. And then when you feel equal on both sides, you can come back into that position with your knees pointed towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, inhaling them back up into tabletop, doing that same thing just on the opposite side. So we'll have our left toe tapping down this time. So again, if you need to drop that right knee a little bit, if you even need to drop the left one and then just tap down like this is still going to activate that core area, but you're going to feel it a little bit less in the hamstring. So this back area of your legs is going to be a little less tired. So take whatever version of this works for you on this side, because your two sides might be different. And then following the pattern of your breath, letting your left toes drop down to the mat and then lifting them back up. Remembering that this left leg, this hinging and this dropping, this is the only thing that's moving in your body right now. Pulling your belly button in towards your spine. Not sucking in, but keeping that activation here. Beautiful job. Keep going. A few more here. See if your shoulders are hunching up towards your ears. If they are, try to drop them. See if you can find a state of that effortless effort in the rest of your body, even as you work really hard on this lower section. One more here. And when your left knee gets back to the center, inhale, extend it up towards the ceiling. Option to put a bend in that knee here. Option again to drop that right knee, maybe drop that right foot down to the mat. Whatever version of this is going to work for your body today, and remembering that your two sides might be different, so if you were able to do one thing on the other side, you might need to adjust for this side. Inhale, extending that left leg. Exhale, lowering it and dropping it down only as far as you can go to keep that integrity of the spine, so you don't want to start arching up off the ground. You want to keep that contact with the back and the mat. And then follow the cadence of your own breath here. Inhaling it straight up, exhaling your left leg down. Don't bring it all the way down to the bottom of the mat unless you really want to, and then feel free to do that. But what we're really looking for here is that hovering sensation somewhere along the line down towards the bottom of the mat, where that's going to really activate our core, because we need to pull in here a little bit more to help bring that leg back up. Our legs are pretty heavy. They're a big part of our body, and so it takes a little bit more strength to be able to get them back up into the air. Two more here. And when you're done, bringing that left leg back into tabletop, dropping your feet down to the mat, walking them to mat's distance, and knocking your knees together. Coming into that windshield wiper if it feels good. Wringing out any of that work we just did. And then setting up for rolling like a ball. Rolling like a ball can be really fun, but if you're having any back issues, it probably doesn't work for you, or it might not feel great. So another option here would be to just do some more of those knees to chest, except this time you would do some rather larger knee circles. And while you're doing this, see if you can pull your belly button in towards your spine a little bit more. Maybe you release your hands and just do some of these nice circles here, first going in one direction and then the other. And then you'll meet us up at the top of the mat. But if you would like to try that rolling like a ball, you're going to bring your knees in closer to your chest. Your elbows are going to come out to the side. Your head, neck, and shoulders are going to tuck up. Your chin's going to tuck, so we're not like this, letting our neck drop. And then you're just going to gently start literally rolling like a ball. Try to get towards the top of the mat so that you're on your sit bones, and then balance here, engaging your core when you're at the top so that you catch yourself, so that your feet are not tapping down or dropping down. So it's a little tricky finding the right amount of momentum to go all the way down to your shoulders and then rock back up without rocking forward or falling back and flipping over. So just do this a few times, seeing if you can catch yourself at the top, balancing on your sit bones before rolling back down. And then on your next one, I'll pause at the top so I can show you here. On our next roll back, option to sort of leap onto our feet here, and I'll demonstrate so that you can see what it looks like, and then shooting our legs back into plank. If that sounds like too much, not your thing, you can just simply roll yourself to a ball, come in to a tabletop position, and set up for plank that way. If you want to try that rolling like a ball sequence, it would look a little bit like this. So you're at your top, you roll back down, you shoot yourself up, and shoot your legs back into plank. So wherever you are, you can go ahead and do that to meet into plank, taking whatever option works for your body today. And then in our plank, we're going to hold this for a little bit here. So if you need to drop down to your knees, and if you need a blanket under those knees to help support, I invite you to do that here. So first, let's just check our alignment. So this is one option for plank. Our plank can be on our knees here. We're still gonna be activating this core area. You can also lift up. If you want a little bit more steadiness, a little bit more balance, you can walk your feet a little wider. And the closer in your feet are to each other, the more challenging it can be. So find whatever version of this works for you today. And then check in. Make sure that your wrists are under your shoulders. Make sure that your hands are splayed, but make sure that that thumb is not coming out too far. You want your thumbs to kind of make that letter J. You're still holding your plank wherever you are. Engage your core, engage your glutes, engage your legs. Push back into those toes and see if you can't get the sensation of pulling your chest forward through your arms. The eyes of your elbows are turned out past the top of your mat. Keep holding, you're doing awesome. Hold, hold, hold. Where's your breath? Go back to your breath. Inhale here. And on your exhale, push back into downward dog. You might need to adjust your feet a little bit here. Walk them out, dropping your heels down towards the floor. Pedaling it out, letting your shoulder blades fall down your spine, letting your sit bones point up towards the ceiling. Your gaze might come between your feet, maybe between your knees. Let the head and neck drop and just find some stillness here. Inhale, exhale, and on your next inhale, you're going to lift that right leg up, down dog split. Exhale, knee to nose, bringing that foot in between your palms. Feel free to help it along with your hands if you need to. And then you might want to adjust your feet so that they're a little bit wider, so that they're on a railroad track instead of one single line. And then inhaling up into high lunge, sinking forward, sinking deeper into that front leg, making sure that that knee is stacked over the ankle. Inhale, exhale, sweep your hands back down to the mat, step back into your plank, hold here for a moment, pulling that belly button in towards the spine, and then exhaling into downward dog, and then doing the same thing on the opposite side, so inhaling that left leg up, down dog split, exhale, knee to nose, bringing that foot in between your hands, adjusting your feet as you set up for that high lunge. Inhale, arms sweep up, high lunge, shoulder blades drop away from the ears. Inhale, exhale, sweeping those palms down. Now instead of stepping back, you're going to step that right foot forward to meet the left. Forward fold. Pause here for a moment. Maybe you put a big bend in your knees, letting your head and neck drop. You can shake your head, nod your head, let everything loose here. And then when you're ready, you can slowly roll yourself up to a standing position, keeping that bend in your knees, going very slowly, articulating your spine one vertebrae at a time, letting your head be the very last thing to come up. Beautiful. Inhaling your arms up towards the ceiling. Exhaling, sinking back into chair pose. Pausing here for a moment to check in with your chair. You should be able to lift those toes up off the mat so all the weight is in your heels. See if you can sink a little deeper in your hips. Hands can be up overhead, or you can bring your palms to heart center. Breathe in here. Breathe out. And then we're going to do some step backs here. So I'll demonstrate from the side so you can see what I'm doing. So from this chair pose position, if your hands aren't at heart center, you might want to bring them there just to help with a little bit of balance. And we'll start with our right foot. So we'll lift our right foot up and step back again into that high plank position. Bring our foot back to meet the left in chair. Inhale, step back. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, step back. Exhale, step forward. 2 more. Inhale, step back. Step forward. 1 more, step back. Step forward. Pause here for a moment. And then option to take a twist here. So bringing that left elbow over to the outside of the right knee, sinking a little lower, twisting over to the right. Breathing in here. And then exhaling back to center and rising up, shaking everything off. And then we'll set up to do the same thing on the opposite side. So coming to the front of your mat, inhale, sinking back into that chair pose. Exhale, bringing your hands to heart center. And then lifting that left foot up and stepping it back into a version of that high lunge. Bringing it back to meet the other foot. Stepping back, bringing it forward. Stepping it back, bringing it forward. Stepping it back, bringing it forward 1 more time. Stepping back. Bringing it forward, staying down low, still in that chair. Option to twist to the left this time, so sinking deeper into those hips, hooking that right elbow, the outside of the left knee, so that you can turn and twist, sink a little lower here. Inhale. Exhale. Come back to center. Inhale, stand up, and release. Great job. Shake everything out here. Come back to the front of your mat. Hips are about, or feet are about hips distance apart. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands can be on your blocks or your mat or your shins. Flat back here. Exhale, fold. Inhale, step back into plank. We're going to try a chaturanga here. If that's not your jam, if that's not within your practice, you can lower all the way down to the ground and come into cobra. But if you're trying chaturanga, you're going to shift your weight forward slightly, lowering halfway down the mat, elbows pinned in. Inhale, lifting into up dog, tops of the feet pressing into the mat. Exhale, down dog. Pedal out here or stay in stillness. Pause a moment, catching your breath, paying attention to any sensations in your body. And then on your next inhale, sweeping that right leg up. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose and pause. See if you can pull that belly button back towards the spine a little bit more, engaging that core. And then elevate or dropping that right knee down to the right wrist. It might not get there, just go as far as you can. And then moving it over to the left wrist. And then bringing it back up to your nose. And then inhale, sending that right leg back up to down dog split. Setting up for a side plank on the left here. Couple different variations here, so I'll show you. And you can pick which one you want to do today. So I'll show you on this side so it's to camera. So the first option is to drop, it'll be your left knee down and extending that right leg out to the side. Your arm will be underneath you, supporting you, and your top arm will extend up. So that's one option here. The other option is to stagger your feet, so both of your legs will be extended, but your feet will be staggered to offer yourself more support. And then the final option is to stack your feet. So take whatever version of this works for you. We're going to be doing this on the left side to start with. So find a position wherever you are. See if you can't pull this left side up a little bit more with your muscles, as if there was a string attached to your side, pulling it up towards the ceiling. Hold 2 more breaths here. And on your next inhale, you can place that right hand back onto the mat, swiveling back into your plank, and exhaling into down dog. Beautiful job. Setting up for the opposite side now. So inhaling that left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Pausing here for a moment. Seeing if you can engage that core a little bit more. And then dropping your knee down to the left like an elevator. Moving it over to the right wrist. Lifting it back up to knee to nose. And then exhale, down dog split. And then coming in to that side plank on the right this time. Try to take whatever version you did on the left. But if you need to switch it up, if you have one side that's maybe a little stronger than the other, that's totally normal. Again, see if you can lift up that right rib cage. Really focusing on pulling up from the ground. 2 more breaths. And on your next inhale, you can drop that right hand, swivel back over into your plank, and exhale, down dog. You might want to do a final pedal out here. And on your next exhale, go ahead and drop your knees down to the mat, cross your feet, and come back onto your sits bones. Coming into boat here, inhaling your legs up off the mat, balancing on your sit bones. Hands can be on your thighs, offering some support here. You might want to take your hands off your thighs. See if you can challenge yourself with your balance a little bit here, still engaging that core. If you want to go even further, you can try extending those legs. You might swivel all the way down. And then pull your knees in towards your chest, rock a little back and forth. Wonderful job. You might have to scoot a little bit forward on your mat. And then coming into a bridge pose here. So just releasing everything we did. Knees are pointed up towards the ceiling. Feet are about hips width distance apart. Your fingers might brush against your heels, pressing your palms into the mat, lifting your hips up. If you want, you can walk your shoulder blades underneath and maybe bind your hands underneath your body here, pressing into your triceps to really open up that front body. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and then releasing your hands, exhaling yourself down to the mat. Inhaling those legs up into tabletop again, releasing your knees together, and then coming into a supine twist. So letting those knees drop over to the right. Arms can be in a T position, Or you might want some little extra weight here, so you would take that right hand and just gently pull down on top of your knees, seeing if you can bring them a little closer to the earth. You can use a blanket or blocks under your knees if they don't come all the way down. So take what support you need here. Inhale, lifting your legs back up to center. You might have to put your feet down to realign your spine just to make sure it's neutral here. Bring your knees back up into tabletop when you're ready, and then let them both drop over to the left. Option to take your left hand on top of your legs here, offering a little extra weight. Wringing out our back, releasing everything we did in practice today. And then removing that hand if it's there, and inhaling your legs back up into tabletop, letting them rest back on the mat, and then extending your legs long for Shavasana. Coming into some stillness here as we integrate our body and our mind. Maybe shifting your shoulder blades under, letting your eyes close if that feels safe and comfortable for you. And if you're holding on anywhere else, now is the time to let go. If you can stay a little bit longer in the Shavasana, I highly encourage you to do that for another 5 or 10 minutes. But if you have to come out of this now, you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, maybe give yourself a good morning stretch, bringing your awareness back into this space you're in. And when you're ready, curling over to one side of the mat, pausing for a moment to offer yourself some gratitude for taking the time to practice today. And then gently pushing yourself up back into a comfortable seated position. And inhaling our arms up together one last time. Exhaling, pulling them into heart center. Bowing our heads forward, remembering that anything you want or need is right here inside you. You just have to ask for it. Thank you for practicing with me today. I am Toga. Be well.